Very well. I was
Okay.
just talking that we can see each other very well with video conference compared to face with a mask.
We would need that if we come face to face, right? So, Andre, we would like to start by asking you whether it's still too premature to say that Taiwan has won, or at least is on its way to winning the war against the novel coronavirus, or is it too early to celebrate?
I think what we can say is that we have a successful model so far, and we are willing to help the world with the public health epidemic control capacities we're building. This is not saying that we will continue to be as successful. Of course, we hope that we are, but what we're saying is that the measures that we're taking is and can and is being successfully replicated elsewhere in the world.
But the signs are positive for you, right?
The signs are positive, yeah, of course.
Audrey, it would be very helpful, I mean, if you can take us back to the early stage of the fight against this virus. Of course, as you mentioned, Kun Atam has mentioned that Taiwan has been touted for its very successful fight against the virus. So take us back, I mean, to see how you began and to start fighting this virus.
Okay, we started very early. We started last year, whereas most countries started this year. We started last year when the social media signals tells us something very unusual is happening in Wuhan. And so we sent a team to investigate and discovered signs of people-to-people, human-to-human transmission. We informed the WHO of that through email, but it's not really heeded until very late in the game. But we started taking the guard as if it's exactly the same as the SARS virus. Because you can see back in 2003, we had the SARS epidemic, and it killed 37 people in Taiwan, and we decided that 37 is too many. So we have a mobilization plan, including complete legal and technical mechanisms and centralized decision-making and efficient integration and coordination, which is what we discovered after SARS, that what we needed all along. And so when this time happened, we treated, without knowing anything about the new SARS virus, that this is exactly the same as SARS. So we began very early on in monitoring at the airport, in making sure that everybody learns again about hand sanitation and mask wearing.
Starting early could also be a problem because people might be suspicious as to why you need to be so strenuous with these measures, right? I'm sure there must be some question from the public.
Actually, for people who are above a certain age, who are above 30 years old, SARS is a collective memory, and it's a painful memory. And so as soon as the government says this has the potential of being a human-to-human transmission and mutation of SARS, actually the people clamored for the government to do more. The people complained, but they complained that we're not doing enough. It's the other side of the problem. And so people complained that we should completely, for example, prevent air travel between the entire PRC and Taiwan, not just Wuhan, and things like that. And we have to keep it a little bit balanced.
I see. So the people were there supporting the government from the very beginning.
They're actually making sure that the government delivers more when it comes to anticipating the outbreak. Because in Taiwan, the social sector, the civil society is very robust, and we have a very thriving journalistic community. And so the journalists, just like detectives, serve as the early warning system. We rely on the journalist community to warn of the potential issues when it comes to the outbreak. And so I think the journalistic community, in addition to the NHI system, to the central coordination system, is one of the heroes of the Taiwan playback.
Minister Audrey, it was quite early response to the virus. How did you manage in terms of communications to the whole country? And did you see it as the long-term strategy, or you saw it as emergency response in the beginning?
Yes, so we have a comprehensive counter-disinformation plan, and the plan can be summarized in very simple 3 words. It's called humor over rumor. And so we make sure that the Ministry of Health and Welfare has a spokesdog And so every day during the press conference, when the Central Epidemic Control Center commander, the Minister of Health and Welfare, answers all the press conference questions, and he leaves no questions unanswered. He answers everything, relying on journalists as a partner. Right after the press conference, which is already translated into sign language and so on, it's translated into very simple picture cards by the spokes dog for MOHW, so that it can become very funny. We can add some lyrics. It makes people laugh about it, and so people are willingly sharing this information, including on how to wash their hands properly and so on. And so this kind of comic relief both makes people more participatory, but also makes the ideas easier to remember.
What was the most harmful type of rumors or fake news around?
Yeah, in Taiwan, we say disinformation and rumor. We don't say the F word because we don't want to alienate journalists. So the most harmful disinformation stems from the idea that somehow people can, for example, there was a trending rumor that says if you click share, you can get a box of masks for free, sponsored supposedly by a mask manufacturer. So this is a scam, actually, phishing that. It's making sure that people who are not sure where the mask supplies are, and they entail that they share their private information. Of course, none of the people who share receive masks, but they may receive instead computer virus. And so this is actually very harmful. And the way to counter this, in addition to a very funny pneumatic message, is just to work with the civil society so that everybody can view with their phone, looking at a real map, a real-time map, and see which pharmacies near them still have masks in store, in stock. And so they can just collect 9 masks for adults and 10 starting tomorrow, and they can see the stock level drop by 9 or 10, and verifying that this is a participatory ledger that holds everybody accountable. And so they will not fall into the online scam that lures them into sharing their private information.
So overall, Taiwan didn't have trouble of mask shortage at all?
So at the very beginning, we used to have, because our production capability was not enough at the time. We have maybe 1.5 million a day, but now we are 10 times that number. We produce easily 15 million a day. And so that's, although it is not like completely the same number as the number of Taiwanese citizens, we are 23 million people after all, but with some creative way of prolonging mass use, we can satisfy most of our everyday needs.
Yes. So to wear or not to wear masks has never been a question in Taiwan, right? Unlike in some other Western countries where still debate whether or not people on the street should wear masks or not.
There's a widely cited study, not only in WHO, but in other health circles, that if people wear masks, but they don't know how to wash hands properly, then it's maybe counterproductive, because people may feel a sense of safety, but actually they touch their mouth and touch their face even more. But instead of saying, oh, we cannot trust the people, so we should say maybe not wearing masks, we are saying, no, what we should do is to make hand sanitation a very trendy, very hip thing to do. And so we have like lyrics and rhymes and songs like 内外杂工大力碗, which is the 7 syllables that everybody remembers on how to wash their hands properly and so on, ensuring that mask use is safe to recommend to people.
Obviously, Taiwan has done a lot and done it quite early. What's the latest situation, Audrey, right now in Taiwan? Can you really say that it's under control?
Yeah, the latest situation very clearly put is that people are feeling calm about it. And this is the most important thing. People are feeling that they know daily via the press conference. For example, today we have 3 more cases, and 2 of them are from abroad visitors. Yesterday we have 3 confirmed cases, all of them are from abroad visitors and so on. And so the numbers are really transparent. And we know that the contact tracing works really well, so that all of the visitors, if they happen to overlap with the other people by way of mobile phone signal of the major telecoms. The contact tracing can anticipate who need to be PCR tested and so on. And so it's a very predictable system. I wouldn't say that it is like completely a success, but I'm saying that people are generally feeling very confident that the contact tracing system is working as intended.